you under the influence of any alcohol, any drugs, prescription
Alcohols?
or not, at the time of this incident?
Absolutely no alcohol whatsoever. I left work
Yeah,
at,
I'm outraged at this
5:20
part.
and went right home. Um, no illegal drugs. I'm always on prescription chemotherapy drugs that I take,
Oh,
at least 3 to 4 times a week.
But not
What?
under the influence of any. That is
Nothing illegal and nothing that I believe would have affected, my ability to make a decision. I was stupid, Jen. There's nothing else I could say, and I regret what I did, and I'm really sorry for it.
All right, sorry, I fucked up the clips, but
No. What drugs she has? Chemotherapy?
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I gotta
What?
play my chemotherapy drugs as a sympathy card because everybody knows that if you can skip all the Disney lines and speed as fast as you want around the neighborhood if you're on chemo, that's not an excuse to treat people like shit, act like an asshole, act like you're above the law.
Hey, were you drunk or high? No, but I am treating my cancer. What? What? That's not the question at all. Your Honor, I'd like to ask Stricken. We were asking if she was drunk or high, and that might have affected her behavior, and that she wanted sympathy. Go fuck yourself.
apparently, I have to issue my apology within this episode already. Apparently, I'm the asshole. Her hair looks like shit because she's on chemotherapy.
Oh yeah, it's a wig, Joe. You idiot.
Cancer diagnosis. That's why she looks like a dried out scarecrow on the top of her fucking head.
And oh, God.
I just in the last clip, was that the clip where she goes, "I would examine every aspect of the person's life"?
Before that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was the last clip, right? I just want to
Yeah.
touch on that for 1 second.
Yeah.
Are you
I thought
fucking
that was
kidding
good.
me? That was just like, oh, well, why did you rob the convenience store? Oh, well, I don't have a job. And
Correct.
and
Yeah,
my
good
family's
point.
starving.
Yeah, why
And-
did you beat your wife? Well, she was mouthing off a lot.
I
I keep losing all my gambling bets, and she was just like, I don't know why you keep thinking the Cubs are going to win and cover the spread. And I'm like, bitch,
Yeah.
I think that their pitching staff is better than you think they are.
And
Oh,
Sandra-
okay. Well, then in that case, I understand why you gave her a black eye. That's a good point, Joe. Why the fuck are we examining the background information of a crime in the way it's just like, well, should we be sympathetic? No! The answer is no.
She's saying there's circumstances where this would be excusable, but it's not like you're being like somebody's. You're in a high-speed chase, escaping an attacker that's trying to kill
Correct.
you, and if you stop, they're going to catch you. So you didn't, and then maybe they let you off.
It'd be one thing if she was on a bus that had to go 60 miles per hour, and if it went under 60, a bomb would explode. Then he'd be like, "Officer, you have to understand. There's a reason why I was speeding." He'd be like, "All right, that makes sense."
Yeah.
But don't you understand these circumstances?
Yeah. To that point, though, too, it goes both ways, right? For good or bad. She's like, oh, well, I was having a bad day, like between all of my job difficulties, my husband's erectile dysfunction, and my chemotherapy. I'm having a really hard time. Okay, so we should take that all into consideration. But if you grew up poor and you have no money and you have a violent background, then we have to take that all into account. Or it can't go both ways.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah. What about she was complaining about seeing the cab driver who was executed. The person who killed the cab driver, maybe their dad stepped out on them early on in life, and their mom beat them, and the school they went to wasn't the best.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Cab driver's gotta go. What are you gonna do?
The price of Ubers and cabs is like, it's fucking $50 for me to go 10 miles from the city to my house. But hey,
that's a good point. That's a good point, Joe.
Okay, so this whole scenario that we're talking about, it looks like and is exactly what everyone thinks it is, but Sandra is once again going to try and shovel this line of shit that nobody's buying.
Looks like to the community. This is a clear-cut example of rules for thee and not rules for me.
Yes,
totally.
I understand that, especially with members of the community. For example, white people and black people, we perceive.
I'm Christian.
I submit law enforcement differently. the criminal justice system differently, but all I can tell you is, as a DA, what I perceived. My initial thought, actually, when I saw the police officer turn around, I thought he was going off to another stop, that he got a call for service. And then when I called the chief, my goal then was to say, I'm not a threat, because I didn't want him to think he was approaching a car and not knowing what to expect inside.
Right. So, guess what, black folks? The precedent's been set. So anytime you get pulled over by the cops, just call the chief of police and explain to them that you're not a threat. And then there's no more police shootings in the country anymore. Problem solved.
Can I just say this real quick?
Yeah.
What an asshole! I just want to make the point. The fact that she went black and white with this. So I happen to be the worst person in possible in America today. I am a white male who's cisgendered.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing you could possibly do. I'm attracted to females. I am a white guy. I didn't pick any of these things. I know you probably think I did. I didn't.
That's your privilege, Carl.
I know. It's crazy.
You a white guy?
It's crazy. I have gotten so many speeding tickets in my life. If I'm going 20 over the speed limit, I remember 77 on the throughway. Back then it was 55. I was going 77. A cop went through the fucking median, risked his own life to come back and get me. I was driving a Honda CRX at the time. It's a 2-seater car. It's a garbage car. I would have died regardless. And this fucking cop went through the median to pull me over to give me a fucking $80 ticket that I couldn't afford. But it's crazy that fucking senators is like, listen, I get it. White people, black people, right. I get it. No. All of us have the same laws. I can't explain this to you guys enough. There's this thing called the Constitution. I realize we've had some issues with race in this country. We're all aware of that. We all live under the same fucking laws. This isn't a white person, black person issue. The fact that she would even bring that up is insane. She's a lunatic. She needs, what I was saying before she should lose her job? She should be executed. I take all of that back. I don't want her to lose her job. I want her to be murdered at her job now. Can you say that on your show? I'm not sure if that's legal.
It's on Patreon.
Yeah. This is not Patreon, Joe.
But it's even worse than that. It's even more simple or more arrogant, I think, from her side of, I had to call this man's boss because I needed to protect him from the very rare and uncommon situation that cops have in their daily lives of pulling over a vehicle and not knowing who or what might be behind the vehicle. I just wanted him to know that I wasn't a threat and that he was safe. Bitch, they do it every fucking day. They do it 100 fucking times a day. They don't need you looking out for them in some fucking nonsense way that they're fine, okay? This is their job.
By the way, privileged white women in a black SUV rarely end up shooting police officers. That's not what this guy was concerned about. It's like, oh, good thing she's not pulling over. This probably would have been a problem.
Yeah. I better call back up on this one. And now we've been doing this for a year now. This is episode 53. And in the way that Carl has become the leading expert on how not to podcast, we have kind of been striving for this goal of picking up on becoming apology experts. Yes. And there are a couple of apology tours that I've already mentioned, Ariana Grande. Now we've seen another one that is kind of similar in this. This is going to have shades of Kobe Bryant when we get into her interaction with the police officer that pulled her over.
Yeah. Have you spoken with the police officer since this incident?
I have reached out twice to try to apologize to him, and the messages that I left were apologetic. I would like to actually sit down face to face and apologize with him because I think he deserves that. I'm waiting to hear back from him.
Yeah, I bet you are. No, do you have his number? Let's call him right now.
I think he deserves that. He never wants to talk to you again. You're a
No.
raging C word.
If I know anything about the way cops operate, and I don't because I've never been arrested because I'm too smart to get caught, this cop is on paid leave in Thailand right now, and he's not taking your fucking calls. He's on vacation until
I
this
only
all
want
blows
to-
over.